Everyone wants to see you doing well, but almost no one wants to see you doing better than them. If I'm going to be brutally honest, a lot of people in this world are either not doing well or wishing that they could do more for themselves. And most of them try to cover up that grim reality through social media by presenting and manipulating their lives in such a way that make others think that their lives are way more exciting and glamorous than they actually are. It's quite a rather depressing reality if you think hard about it. But when you genuinely become a better person in all important aspects of life, like getting stronger, smarter, wealthier, dressier, more experienced, more confident, and more charismatic, it naturally and sometimes unintendedly puts you within a very small pool of hard-to-come-by individuals that also possess the same relatable and superior attributes. Individuals that had gone through their initial journey towards personal betterment tend to initially develop this naive expectation that through becoming a better person, everyone or majority of people close to them or around them will turn in their favor and be proud of their positive changes, until they realize that only a very small number of people, or even worse, none, understand the purpose of the circumstances they've gone through and actually properly express their respect and/or admiration for them. Most people, on the other hand, will tend to undermine, discredit, and eventually resent you as you become a better person, or more importantly, an autonomically better person than them, which can seemingly be rather frustratingly contradictory and ironic when you first experience this circumstance. But let me explain to you the main reasons why people react in such a way towards you. The first rather tolerable reason is that humans love structure and patterns. It gives them that comfortable sense of order and structure that they desperately need to assert from their environments. And when you undergo a massive, polarizing change for yourself, it disrupts their usual judgments and assessments of you into chaotically unfathomable assumptions. I.e., when they see the new you, their whole established perception of you over the years will not make sense at all to them as you don't fit their usual acknowledgement of you. You'll inadvertently catch them off guard and make them feel uncomfortable and sometimes threatened as you become a much less predictable entity or circumstance for them. Thus, their fight-or-flight response kicks in and they would naturally feel the incentive to try to convince you, pressure you, or even condemn you to revert yourself back to your previous self so that they can restore that secure or manageable sense of predictability and perceptibility that they had for you initially before the change. So I guess their disapproval of you regarding this particular reason is still quite justifiable. The second reason, and the one you'll most likely find rather hard to accept and tolerate, is that seeing you doing better provokes their underlying insecurities that vividly reminds them of what they wish they could and should be. People hate to be reminded of their weaknesses because it utterly crushes the self-image that they have been delusionally constructing and estimating for themselves. And they hate the notion that they could have and should have done more for themselves, or could and should be doing way more for themselves, because it makes them feel incapable and insufficient. Whatever weaknesses they have, what you're embodying or demonstrating through becoming a better person, are secretly what they desperately wish their weaknesses should be replaced with. And because they cannot bear this intense and uncomfortable feeling of inadequacy that disrupts their self-worth, naturally, they'll try to find or pinpoint something negative about you, usually minor ones, through highlighting and escalating the undermining narrative in order to draw their attention away from their own discrepancies and plant the seeds of doubt, fear, and unworthiness in your mind instead. I mean, what can we say? It is the uncomfortable truth that envy simply confirms the admission to ourselves that we are inferior to another person in something that we value. And in order for the envier to feel entitled to harm the envied, he or she has to create this narrative in his or her mind that everything the envy demonstrates will reveal some negative trait, and because of that, they are undeserving of what they have. The third reason is, well, it's not actually a reason, it's more of a reminder for us than it is about the people that hates us. And it is our overly optimistic and aristocratic tendencies that we might acquire from becoming a better person initially can sometimes exaggerate themselves into us developing a grandiose, serendipitous, and light-hearted perception of the world. Basically, when we become a better person, sometimes the multitude of good fortunes that it brings can slowly disconnect us from the harsh reality that we initially abide by, thus getting us comfortable enough to lower our guard down and become circumstantially naive or start having unrealistic expectations. Do not get carried away when things are going well, because they won't last forever. Not everyone is going to like you or get along with you, and not everyone is going to feel genuinely happy in celebrating your success. Most of them secretly only wants a slice of your cake, or even worse, looking forward and even praying for your eventual downfall. You will inevitably sense this cautionary grey area of unsteadiness, volatility, and hostility amongst the people you'll be dealing with as you climb up the socio-economic ladder. And you must not be discouraged by this or feel sorry for yourself as you deal with people trying to bring you down or shake you off center. Realize that you've worked your way up and earned your position in life, and never let others dictate the narrative of your worthiness or deservingness with regards to your sense of autonomy. You get what you deserve in life, and those that tells you otherwise only wish they are deserving of them. We must never lose our touch with the harsh reality of the world. To always remember that the world does not owe us anything regardless if we think that we're doing well and it seems to be showering us with good fortunes. Unfavorable and unwanted circumstances or situations are always lurking around the corner waiting to pounce at our irresponsible asses. People can be nice, but people can also be cruel. People can show and demonstrate empathy, but most people are ruthlessly self-serving. Because the dark and underlying reason about life is that it is all about survival of the fittest. Only the strong, capable, and adaptable survives. And whether you realize it or not, or whether you want to admit it or not, it often involves a lot of conflict and confrontation. Supremacy exists, and it applies very profoundly towards our survival. And most of the time, regardless if we have the acknowledgement about them or not, it takes a rather rude personal experience to fully convince ourselves of that harsh reality. Thank you for watching.